number one, it's Hub Radio. This is Jameela Jamil from Radio 1.
Hello, I'm Alicia Wensley and I'm from Hub Radio, and I'm here today with Jameela Jamil from the Radio 1 chart show, who's here for UWE Freshers Welcome Party. And yeah, here she is for you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm taller than you expected.
Yeah, probably, but then again, I'm quite short, so it could be in proportion, maybe, I'm thinking.
If we were merged, we'd create the perfect size woman.
We'd be the perfect height. It would be ideal. Have you ever been to Bristol before?
I have been to Bristol. I DJ at quite a lot of unis all over the country, and Bristol's been one of them. People from Bristol know how to party, especially the farmers. They do young farmers balls here that are absolutely incredible. So, no, I'm really excited about today.
Yeah, I'm glad you like Bristol anyway, because I was about to ask you actually, what does the audience down there have to do tonight to sort of match up to other unis, or do you think they'll have no problems in doing so?
I like cuddles. I like high fives occasionally, as long as they're done well. I need people to jump a lot, so I'm hoping that the girls have worn adequate bras.
See, you're here tonight as a DJ, and you DJ for the Radio 1 chart shows where you're a presenter as well. Obviously, you're a writer. So a lot of people obviously look up to you as a role model. Have you got any role models of yourself that you sort of look up to in that way?
Radio role model is Scott Mills, because he's a genius, and it just never sounds like he's presenting. He just sounds like he's talking and just effortlessly is hilarious all the time. Another role model, weird and old, Whoopi Goldberg, because everyone knows who she is, but no one knows anything about her personal life or how many kids she has or anything, whether she makes sex tapes, if she doesn't, what she wears, no one cares. She's known as an entity and an enterprise just on her own.
Is there any sort of fashion inspiration as well? Because obviously you're in a lot of fashion magazines all the time, so is there anyone you take inspiration for in that way? Or
I think a lot of girls, put themselves together beautifully. I like Sophia Loren because she's curvy, and she said one of my favourite quotes, which was that everything I have, I owe to spaghetti, which means that she just respected her own curves. I like that. But generally, I think it's nice to draw a little bit of inspiration from people, but I don't think you should ever copy someone else's style, because style is so much so a part of your mood that very day, that moment.
do you find it strange when you're being interviewed? Because obviously you're used to being in the other role and interviewing someone else. Do you ever find it unusual for the roles to be reversed?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I've learned to stop trying to turn it around. But that used to happen and it used to get a little bit weird. But it's definitely odd, and I think I realise what an intimidating situation it can sometimes be if someone's a bit of a dick to you. So I try not to do that.
Well, you've been very lovely today, so no worries about that. Obviously, you're a columnist for Company. Do you ever find with that and with speaking on radio that you've ever said anything and then think, I really wish I hadn't said that?
I think when I told everyone on radio and then in a column that my flatmate had been sexting with my mother, I definitely had a regret. I also regret bringing it up again right now.
Yeah, so you've got job titles of DJ, presenter, as we've been mentioning. What would you think you'd be doing if you weren't doing all of these things now?
I think I'd probably be working in a deli, which is still sort of what I want to do. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to own a deli, I just want to work in one. And I would like to eat all of the food, just bit by bit. I like the fact that it's compartmentalised. I don't really have any high ambitions. I used to be an English teacher before I became a presenter, so that was probably the road I would genuinely be going down.
Particularly, a lot of people must ask you this, I'm sure, but what do you predict to be the number one this week?
I think it's going to be Katy Perry, because she's number one in 26 countries at the moment, and she's about 30,000 copies ahead of Ellie Goulding. So we don't know, but that was only at the midweek point. It's Saturday night, tonight at midnight. Pretty much now, it all changes, so we'll find out tomorrow.
Have you ever interviewed Katy Perry?
I have interviewed Katy Perry. The first time I met her, she started the conversation with, "Are you black?" That got weird. But since then, we've gotten along very well, and she's very nice and very funny. In my last conversation with her, I asked her to make a roaring noise, and it kind of came across like a constipation noise, which I confronted her about. And then she cleared it up with me by telling me she'd already done her morning poo, so she doesn't have any media training, which is why I like her. Nor do I, apparently.
Who would you say was ever your best interview?
Best interview is probably P. Diddy, because he was blind drunk at midday and so did anything I asked him to do, including doing the Bhangra, and he sang Billie Jean. He was wasted. It was amazing.
Has there ever been anyone that you haven't interviewed that you'd really, really like to?
I'd like to interview Jake Gyllenhaal again, because he still hasn't accepted my proposal, so I'm just going to keep coming back at him until he does.
Got to admit, I did like the Company column when you mentioned that would be the ideal thing if marriage was on the cards, is a little bit of Jake. Everyone wants a bit of Jake. Thank you very much for your interview. Good luck with your set. I'm sure it'll be brilliant. But yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me.